The innumerable conflicts that set men and women against each other stem from the fact that neither sex assumes all the consequences of this situation that one proposes and the other undergoes. This problematic notion of equality in inequality that one uses to hide his despotism and the other her cowardice does not withstand the test of experience. I like this sentence because nowadays when you have conversations about gender differences, the most that you can get to is to agree on the fact that we are differently equal, so that the smartest of people in conversation about this stuff, we will agree on the fact that we want equality, but we want equality within our differences. So we accept the fact that we are different, but still we would like to be treated fairly within our differences. Most smart people agree that, but that's just the beginning in the conversation here in this book. So I don't understand how there's whole entire books written where that is just the premise. And nowadays, it's like we've gone so backwards because that is not even understood by the majority of the population. The majority of the population, what you see in the newspapers, like front page, because yes, I know that I can find all these reasonings in obscure books, but I don't want to go to the books. I want to see the front page of my newspaper. I want to see what everybody has access to. That is the stuff that should be saying these things. And that, what that is saying still, is that women want to be equal in all ways to men, which is just such a stupid notion. I can't even start to argue against it. It's just, obviously we are different. Isn't that obvious? But once that is obvious, and once the next step is obvious, which is also to understand that that's not enough, then we can start the conversation, and the conversation is as follows. The woman counts on the abstract equality that she was guaranteed, and the man on the concrete inequality that he observes. So the woman is being told that her world, that her treatment is fair, and she acts accordingly. But the man can see that it's not fair, that it's not how she wants it to be in any case. He acts according to that. I know it's a bit confusing to understand, but hopefully you get me. So what we're saying here is that we are not equal within this inequality even, because that in itself is really abstract. I want to simplify this, but then I read it and I find it so confusing, I can't even put it into one sentence. So the ambiguity of the words give and take can be seen in all relationships, which is true. What does give and take mean? I mean, it's so hard to define. It's so hard to pinpoint. The woman has to understand. This is amazing, like, highlight this part, because this, nobody talks about this. This is so taboo. I am gonna offend so many people by saying this, but I completely agree, and I think that Simone has just, it's enlightened this sentence. The woman has to understand that an exchange, a basic law of political economy, is negotiated according to the value the proposed merchandise has for the buyer and not for the seller. So the woman has to understand that these gifts that she has, this beauty, this amazing aura, princess that she is selling to the man, that's our kind of product. That's what we're meant to give to humanity. That's our gift. That we think that it has a certain value, but we are the seller it is not up to us to define how much we are worth. It is up to the buyer, who is the man. So how much worth does the man really think that we have? And that is the problem. There's a really big difference, because we think that we deserve everything. And as you may well know, men disagree with this. And at the end of the day, it's the buyer that decides how much what he's buying is worth, because otherwise he doesn't buy it. Amount of money as we want. So this is a huge problem nowadays, and a cause of so many arguments, and it's just a misunderstanding. We basically think that we have more value than we do. That's all it comes down to. The woman was lied to by being persuaded that she was priceless. In reality, she is merely a distraction, a pleasure, company, an inessential article for the man, replaceable. So women are actually, if the woman is only classical woman, as in femininity, what a woman can do, the role of being a woman, is entirely replaceable. You can replace it, actually you're better off replacing it by somebody younger, with more beauty, with more energy to care for children or whatever. So if this is what we think that we have, that's not enough, because that's very little. And that's not priceless. What is priceless, of course, is we all have our forte and we are all different human beings, and in that sense we are unique. But in terms of what each of us has in terms of our beauty superficially, that's not priceless. And we are constantly being told that it is, and it's not. However, for us, for the woman, the man is the meaning, the justification of her existence. So for us, actually, the man has more value than we have for the man. Isn't that interesting? And I kind of agree with this, because if the man is only looking for these qualities in us, beauty, youth, then he doesn't really need each one of us, he just needs someone. And that's often the case, the man just needs someone. He's not that stressed out about staying with one particular woman, because for him, he knows that he can get another. And that's sad, but it's kind of the truth, and it's kind of what happens. And it's kind of the reality of the situation, that men are not as desperate, partly because they don't seem to care. They don't seem to care to be with you alone. They just want to be, first of all, they want to be with a lot of people, which I get it. I want to be with a lot of people too. But they also, it always surprises me just how little they care about maintaining one particular woman, whereas I think that women care so much about maintaining one particular man. When we are loyal to a man, we are loyal to that man. And I would say that generally, the man doesn't feel that way. So to continue, the two objects exchanged are not of the same quality, because they are worth different things to each one of us. They don't have the same value for both partners. And sorry, I want to explain this too, because it's not clear why the man is the meaning and the justification for us. I mean, that is implying that we cannot be self-sufficient by ourselves. So that is a little bit dated, but I would still say that the man encompasses this image of the hero that's going to save you and give you another life. And that image, you know, there can only be one of those. Whereas damsels in distress, if the man wants to be the hero, he can be the hero of many damsels in distress. But for the woman in this princess role, we only really want one hero, and we want that one. So that's the shift in values there. And the man can often help us more because he's usually in a better position socially and status-wise and everything, financially. And this part is a little bit confusing. Let me just stop for a second. Oh yeah, drink. Let's all have a drink. I look back at these videos and my expression has so much passion. I mean, you can really tell how heated up I get. But generally, that's about any subject. For debates, I just get really heated up in debates. I get really passionate because I care about it.